Hi, I'm Morgan.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we know better. Welcome to the late 5th episode.
Happy Pride Month!
Yes, happy Pride!
Well,
as you can see, God is angry. Well, actually, you probably can't see, but there's a storm going on outside.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't get through, but we couldn't film yesterday because my power was out. And we left it till the Sunday before we were supposed to post, so our bad.
Maybe God is super anti-Pride. Like, he's like, power outage.
But no, I think
computer not working.
I think the universe knew, like, it's so gay to be, like, fashionably late.
True.
Like, in true gay fashion, we are late to our own podcast that we promised would be out on Monday.
Right.
Which is fine.
We're not getting paid for this, so sorry. We're not gonna have to adhere to any of your guys's... We're not gonna adhere to any of the promises that we make. If we don't want to.
I feel like we've said that before as well. We said don't ever listen to us. Don't ever let us give advice about ourselves or hold us to anything because we'll break everything that we say about ourselves. Not to you, but that's fine.
Also, can we address the elephant in the room? We switched spots. I know you guys are freaking out.
I don't know if I like it, but also there was a flash or a glare in my glasses, and I could film without the glasses, but then I wouldn't be able to see anything, and then I would probably be a little bit panicked the whole time and also squinting, because that's what I do instinctually when I can't see. Yeah,
maybe if we do end up changing locations to my place, we'll have more room to, like,
true. I think it would be fun. I still think we should have this location. I don't think we should completely switch, but I think having multiple filming locations could be fun.
Yeah.
And also just make everything more flexible, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because a lot of the time we film right before we go out on a weekend.
True.
And she lives closer to the cities in terms of, like, downtown area.
Well, not really anymore.
True. I know. When I was visiting, she just moved. And when I was visiting her this weekend, I had no idea how, like, actually out of the city you were. And I know our friend immediately shut me down and was like, no, but, like, she's, like, 5 minutes from downtown. And that, totally true. But I was like, no, but these are still some civilian roads. Like, you're out the city.
It's almost suburbs.
Mm-hmm. And I've been to that Sonic near where you were. I didn't order anything. I went there during, like, a crisis, and I was like, I need nerds with slushy, or slushy with nerds drink. I need it right now or I'm going to cry and crash out. And then I drove up to it, and it wasn't a drive-thru. It was the pull-up, and, like, they bring it to your car.
That one has a drive-thru, too.
Well, I didn't know that. I just saw it, and I was like, there's just no fucking way I'm doing that right now. I'm not interacting with anybody, and then I left without my
That's fair.
Sonic. I'm sad.
You know who has a nerd slushie right now? Burger King.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I bet it's for way less, too. Like,
probably.
Money. Yeah, they be having crazy deals.
Yeah.
But the Whopper...
Burger King sucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, last time I ate a Whopper, I was, like, violently ill. And that's rare for fast food because I've trained my body. I've trained my Crohn's body, which took a lot more work. Like, the difference between me eating Taco Bell my sophomore year of college, which was, like, me and Kevin would go 2 or 3 times a week.
Right.
And, like, anytime either of us were in crisis, we would smoke a pack of cigs and then go get Taco Bell. Like, I literally felt zero pain or any digestive issues that whole time. And, like, when I was clean from fast food for about 6 months after I was hospitalized, because from 6 months, it takes 10 weeks from when you are diagnosed with a heart infection before you can get put under anesthesia. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't get officially diagnosed with Crohn's because that has to go through a sample from a colonoscopy.
Right.
So from when I was hospitalized to, like, the next calendar year, I couldn't have any fast food, any raw fruits or vegetables, and I couldn't have anything with, like, flavoring, basically. I was on I had to, like, pay for a meal plan to get low fiber, low acidity, low everything.
Sure.
And no fried, like, no fat or anything. It was horrible. It was horrible, but I was, like, the fucking skinniest, craziest fucking body I've ever had. But also,
that was also due to the hospitalization.
Well, yeah, I lost a ton of weight, and then I kept losing weight because I wasn't, like...
You weren't able to eat anything.
Like, a piece of plain bread. You can't toast it, though. Like, it was horrible. It was horror. And I knew to this day, I shouldn't really be eating all that much fast food. I eat significantly less than I did before. Mm-hmm. But I still eat it more than I should in just terms of my specific body and my issue. I'm not a person who's like, fast food is bad for you, like, you shouldn't eat it. Like, girl, no, I love Taco Bell. I still to this day, I love Taco Bell. I dream about Taco Bell, but I definitely eat it more than I should, and I can tell. Every time I eat fast food now, I feel like And I know that's what everyone says when they get older, they're like, I actually feel ill, but it's like, no, I can feel the fact that my body is, like, freaking the hell out, and it's like, should we attack ourselves right now?
Right.
And yet I still trained myself to not have to, like, shit myself after Taco Bell.
Actually, Burger King will still do it too.
Yeah, Burger King will always do it to me.
If there's Burger King stands in the comments, log off.
Do you know what I used to tell Penn State man? He loved Arby's. And I would say Arby's, men who eat Arby's are secret
not
serial
too much,
killers.
because we have a good friend that also likes Arby's.
No, I still stand by that. I'm sorry if you
No, I do
Arby's,
too, and I have told her myself.
Serial killer, except the only valid is, like, if you're like, oh, but I just go for the fries. Whatever, fine. I like curly fries, too.
Listen, like Sonic, they do a good fucking drink. Their drink's huge. You get their ice cream, you get their freaking root beer float. Ooh, they load that shit up. It's like, literally this tall, and they soft serve that bitch. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I believe in that. So yeah, I'm not white, so I didn't really go to Arby's growing up. I think it's, like, no, like, so seriously, something about Hispanic people in McDonald's, like, we're locked the fuck in, and, like, also a good amount of Wendy's, but also McDonald's, like, and I know that was actually kind of the entire nation for our childhood.
It's kind of a
I feel
poor
like
people thing.
But, like,
at that time, it was.
I know. Yeah. I guess those demographics.
My family did McDonald's every Friday.
See, like, my mom would take us out to, like, put my dad in severe credit card debt on the weekends and buy, like, so much shit, and then we would go to McDonald's.
Yep.
But, like, if we were getting fast food, we would always get McDonald's. But I guess that's I mean, I'm not trying to stereotype, but I guess there's a bit of a statistical overlap into those two groups.
Sure.
So maybe that's why I think that there's a correlation. But my mom fucking loved a McDonald's. But also, a lot of people from Puerto Rico, when they immigrated, when they immigrated to the United States, they ended up in New York City, most commonly in Brooklyn, but in New York City. And in New York City at that time that my mom was immigrating, the big thing was White Castle. My mom, when she found out there's a White Castle in Maple Grove where I used to live, oh my god, every time she visits she wants to go. And it's nasty! White Castle's not good! It's dry, there's no sauces, there's nothing. Anyway.
Also, the big thing is onions on their burgers. Yeah. Like, that, to be known for... Onions are okay, but to be known for... we put onions on our burgers. That's what you're known for.
Yeah, that's just not fun. But I think that kind of makes sense why that shift from White Castle to, like, McDonald's. I think that's pretty similar.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would be my thought there. Anyway, this is supposed to be the gay episode, but maybe it'll just be the fast food
Well, then what's the overlap with gay and fast food? Because I feel like...
I don't know. Hot to Go by Chapel Roan, the music video. Word association.
Yeah.
Did you see her outfit? She is in tour, I think, in Berlin or somewhere in Europe. She just, like, she had this outfit where it was, like, a corset with, like, a clown face on it, and the clown makeup, and the clown hat. It was hot as fuck. It was hot as fuck.
And then she just posted a great, Insta today with her ass out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we get it. Like, you can serve without all the makeup and costume on. Okay. Okay, wait. I should not... Moving on. I'm just getting mad. I'm jealous of other gays and lesbians. Is that okay for y'all?
Was a common thing in our TikTok DMs is us sending cute couples, either gay or lesbian couples, or whatever the fuck in between, but, like, gay, you know what I'm saying? And sending them to each other and being like, I'm not jealous, or alternatively, I hope they fucking break up and die. Because we're jealous! We're jealous bitches!
It's a lot of just, like, a sigh or... We get, like, literally, those are the messages where we get TikTok saying, are you worried about this person? You didn't know that's a feature on TikTok where they're like, are you concerned about this person and what they're saying? And it's us sending clips or TikToks of other couples to each other.
I know TikTok's concerned about me because I send anime edits to Amelia and Bradley and I literally say, the gun is in my mouth and I'm going to kill myself. Like, and TikTok will be like, are you sure you want to say that? And I'm like, send. Yeah. That's a phrase I stole from Amelia. The gun is already in my mouth. It's such a good... Well, I guess don't make jokes about suicide, but I will. So... I think it's really funny. Or, like, Jujutsu Kaisen's coming out with Hidden Inventory arc, which is, like, the beginning of Season 2. They condensed it to movie format and added a ton of more scenes of my favorite characters. Because the beginning of Season 1 is, like, a prelude to, like, the whole storyline. So, like, Gojo's the main character, but he's an older adult. This is actually relevant to Pride Month because they're very gay. He's older. He's an adult in the main series, so it's about him when he was in high school.
Okay.
And his best friend in high school becomes the villain. That guy. His name is Kato.
Yeah.
So, like, they're condensing their, like, backstory into, like, a movie format, and, like, they were listing all the extra scenes they were adding, and I literally sent it to Amelia because she's gonna come see it with me, and I said, I am not above killing myself in a crowded movie theater. They better not fucking test me. Oh my god. Because Gato kills his parents. His whole ideology is, like, he's a sorcerer, and then he realizes that humans basically use sorcerers and let them die for them to kill, like, cursed spirits, just monsters, because humans themselves can't, so the whole idea is sorcerers are, like, the protector of people.
Sure.
But the society just basically turns out these young people and sends them to their death. All in the service of saving humans who can't even save themselves. So he kind of comes to this revolution, and he's like, well, actually, fuck the humans, and fuck this. I'm just gonna kill the humans, because if there were no humans, there would be no more monsters that they need to be saved from, is his ideology. And so when he like has this mental break, he kills a whole village of people because he's like, yeah, fuck these people, but he kills his parents as well because for his ideology to work, he's like, there can be no favoritism. And then what they revealed the new scene is going to be, they're like, it's going to be Gato when he first gets to the school, his high school, and he's calling his mom, talking about how much he loves her and how excited he is and how much he's going to miss her. And I was like, oh, so you want me to kill myself in the theater, in the crowded, packed theater? I will. I'm not above it. That fucking author loves a good tragic. He based the Gato and Gojo off of famous boys love manga, and he's like, but the thing is, he published it in Shonen Jump. A shonen is a action anime.
Okay.
So like it's the action genre.
Right.
Shonen Jump itself, which is the kind of company that publishes these action mangas and also makes them into animes as well, or like decides what's popular enough to be made into an anime.
Sure.
Super homophobic. So a lot of these action stories have very queer-coded characters, but they can never be explicitly queer. So that's why, to me, they are semi-canon, because it's everything about the show and the manga and the story points to them being romantically involved, but it can never be explicitly said because of the type of manga it is.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I had thought of something when you said that, but I can't remember it now. I'm just so taken aback by the storyline. Wait, I was gonna say, speaking of killing yourself in theaters, Brokeback Mountain is coming to theaters for its 20th anniversary this month.
I think it's this weekend. It's like June 6th. What day is it?
Oh, I thought I was trying to look at today, and I saw end of the month.
Oh,
in theaters near us.
Hey, maybe you're right. I don't know.
I don't know, but I will be participating.
I'll be in the movie theaters a lot these next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Good, you're getting use of your movie pass.
Yeah. I know, Isabel just needs to invest in the AMC A-list because she goes with me to all these movies. And I'm like, girl, you have to pay full, like, it's $25 a month for 4 free movies a week. They upped it from 3 to 4. I'm assuming because they were still losing money and wanted more people to be paying for this A-list thing, you know what I mean? But a ticket to an IMAX movie is $22.
Right.
So they filmed How to Train Your Dragon in IMAX. So Isabel and I want to go see it next week, so she's paying for already $22.
Yeah.
But then we want to see The Materialists the next day. We're going to do like a 2-day-in-a-row thing because it's Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal.
Right.
A rom-com about them. So then it's already more, seeing those 2 movies in one weekend is already more than she would be paying monthly.
For unlimited, well, that's not unlimited technically, but like 12 movies a month basically is a crazy deal.
Yeah. It's worth it, in my opinion, but also there's just been movies upon movies upon movies that I want to see. Especially they do Studio Ghibli movies, which is anime movies, I guess. He's an animator who's really famous. He's a director. The Studio Ghibli or whatever.
Right.
And every year they do like a Ghibli Fest where like every few months one comes back into theaters. So all year long these movies are coming back into theaters to see them on a movie release anyway. So that's also kind of adding to the fact, like, why wouldn't I if I'm going to go see all of those every single time?
Definitely. Yeah, I get that. It never made sense to me before because I didn't live super close to a movie theater. But I think where I move now, I might be close enough that it might make sense. But we'll see.
The location of the AMC Eden Prairie Mall is pretty nice between all of us. But same with, I think, Southdale, I want to say. I think it's way close.
I'm closer to like Rosedale area now. I think there was one over there, but
yeah, if it's 20 minutes or like 25 minutes to me, I'm like, okay, whatever.
Sure.
But I don't have one that's less than I have to drive at least 20 minutes to any of them around me.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Fair enough.
It's kind of all the same.
Too bad that Imagine isn't a AMC.
True. I really liked Imagine as like a company. I liked their theaters a lot and everything. But I mean, most of the AMCs are reclined now, which is nice. Because back in Connecticut, where my parents live, none of them are. I mean, there's only one I ever went to because only one town near us had it. But like, me and my mom went to see Sinners when I visited her when she got sick. And I was sitting in this, I sat down and I was like, what the hell?
This should be illegal.
Yeah. Yeah, I never experienced a recliner. Well, I guess I did in college, but like I went to a movie once or twice in all the 4 years I was in college.
Yeah.
And then we started going a lot here and I was like, this is nice. What the fuck?
I remember when the big switch happened at the movie theater near where I grew up because there's only one, really. And so when they switched, I was like, this is crazy. This is life-changing. And I'll never go back. Yeah. So we have a fun little game. Well, it's not a game. A fun little topic idea that we came up with for Pride Month.
We didn't come up with it for Pride Month, but we're using it for the Pride episode.
I didn't even know that. It's for Pride.
Well, this episode wasn't planned. We just the day we were filming it on Sunday, and that was the first day of Pride, and I was like, well, then this needs to be the gay episode. But now we're filming on a Monday, so loosely the gay episode, clearly, as we haven't really talked too much about gay shit.
Right. Best non-canon, specifically non-canon, gay/lesbian relationships in media. So we're gonna go over our favorites for you guys and give our thoughts on that. Do you want to start?
Sure. I'll do my one lesbian one because I consume a lot of anime, so therefore there's a lot of men who I am canoning gay in my head. Or I guess head canoning gay, but arguably some of them are just gay coded in the sense of like everyone just like accepts it as canon. But I still chose ones that are not canon. So I'll start with the lesbian one first. My first one is Gelfie, which is Glinda and Elphaba.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
They are so in love coded, and also there's been fan fiction being written about them since like the book came out.
Yeah,
and then
is it in the book that's almost canon?
They fuck in the book.
Yeah,
they fuck in the book, but the book is so weird, and they're not really a romantic couple in the book. As far as I know, I have not read the book, but as far as what I've gathered. But even once the play came out, that shit got like huge traction. And I heard on a podcast that it's called Fine Pairings, where they make a drink to match a fanfiction they picked out, and then they read excerpts from the fanfiction. Mm-hmm. Every pod, they read a Gelfie one. It was so fucking good. It just works so well, and I guess maybe shipping them takes away from the message of like the friendship love from the movie and stuff. I'm just gonna specifically talk about the movie because from the show and the movie it's the same storyline, you know. Right. But in my opinion, they're gay as fuck. Like, Glinda, I had canon Glinda as a lesbian. Mm-hmm. Glinda's a lesbian. And Elphaba is bisexual. Right. And Fiero is pansexual. And I think they should just be in a throuple where, like, Glinda is dating Fiero by, like, title. But they are never fucking because she's just gay. Like, she is just a lesbian. Right. But, like, Fiero's fucking anything that walks. Well, yes. And Elphaba, bi panic as fuck. I literally watched that movie over. When I rewatched it, I'm like, all their issues would be solved right now if they just agreed to a throuple. Because it's just so clear that Glinda wants him because she is thinking he is the perfect man. She doesn't actually fucking know him or like him, and he hides his real self anyway, and that's why him and Elphaba work so well. It's because Elphaba sees him for who he is and still loves him anyway, despite the darkness. So Glinda don't give a fuck. Glinda do not give a fuck, but she loves Elfie. Right. You know? Yeah. And that has that genuine bond with her. I ship them hard.
No, I do too. The edits, y'all look into the edits. Yeah. That goes for pretty much everything we say here. Everything we talk about, look into the edits and y'all will understand if you haven't already.
Yeah. Yeah, and the edits are all, in my opinion, romantic. Yeah. And even they're just making Wicked edits about, you know, because the whole thing is they, you know, separate at the end of Wicked Part 1. Right. It's like, and so they're making edits about that, but any way you watch them, it's like, well, this is just gay. Yeah. There's a specific edit, and it's her talking about her dad, and it was like, well, it's my fault that my dad hates me, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes, and then the music for 7 by Taylor Swift starts, like, coming in, and then Glinda goes, "It's the milk flower's fault, not yours," and then it plays 7 with, like, scenes of them, and the lyrics are like, "And I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted, your dad is always mad, and that must be why, and I think you should come live with me, and we can be pirates, and you won't have to cry," and I was like, it was such a good ship edit, and also just such a good, Taylor Swift somehow writes lyrics and songs that can be applied to certain ships and or storylines like she was writing it for that purpose. It is kind of scary sometimes, but such a good edit and such a good relation to the ship and everything.
Yeah, there's nothing I love more than an edit so good you're like, this song was literally made for like this situation. Alright, so my first one, also kind of similar, basically canon, although not explicit, Barbie and the Diamond Castle, Liana and Alexa.
I mean, their skirts were lesbian and bi colors.
Yes.
Someone in that studio was trying to make a statement.
They were trying to, it was like you were saying with maybe your animes, like, it's Barbie, they can't fully say it, but like, come on. They didn't even end up with the men in the movies. All the other princesses are getting married at the end. They're like, bye.
Yeah, the men get...
We're gonna go live in our flower cottage.
Yeah. The men show up at the Diamond Castle and they get their little outfits and they're like, oh, cool, you're here too. Yeah, they're like, anyway.
Literally.
Yeah, and they're like, alright, do you want to come with us? And they were like, no, bye.
Yeah. So if you haven't rewatched that movie since you were a kid, highly recommend rewatching and coming to that realization, because it's quite obvious when you rewatch it.
I did not pick up on it as a kid, and then watching it as an adult, I was like, oh, so she's a lesbian and she's bi and they're gay.
Yeah.
And they're having their fucking first fight right now, where Alexa's like, why can't we just stay and be happy in this cottage? Let's be lesbians with all this food and dresses. Yeah.
She's like, yeah. So, and also, edits of that, great too.
And also the fact that the movie itself gives absolutely no lore to why Alexa and Liana live alone in a cottage in the middle of the woods with no family ever spoken of, no nothing, no where they came from. It's just like, they just live together. You
know what? Okay, what if this is my fan theory that I just thought of right now. So, you know, the whole story is a story that Barbie and Teresa are telling Stacy, whatever. It's supposed to be about friendship. But what if it's like their story of their dream life that they wish they could live, but they're having to
lesbian dream.
But they're like having to live as straight people.
Oh my
gosh.
god.
It's Barbie and Teresa.
I mean,
Barbie
come on, Barbie has had every job on the fucking planet. I'm sure she at some point was gay.
What?
You know?
How does that relate? Being gay isn't a job.
No, I know, but I'm saying there's like a million different versions of Barbie. Surely one version of Barbie is gay.
Sure. I don't really see Barbie as that. I don't see Barbie as different versions of her.
I know it's Barbie doing everything, but I'm like, at some point, I'm sure during all these self-discovery journeys, she was gay. Sure. I know that's not how it works. I know you don't choose being gay and then you go back on it. I'm just saying, with all the possibilities, she definitely explored it at one time. That's
that's what I'm saying. What Barbie and the Diamond Castle is that maybe I think Barbie's gay in general. This is just an acting for her.
True. Yeah, but Barbie Life in the Dream House with Ken is okay, but Ken kind of I had Ken as a masculine lesbian.
Because he is.
Ken and Barbie Life in the Dream House, masculine.
Because if you watch a compilation of Ken being the greatest boyfriend ever, and it's him being a woman with Barbie.
Yes. He's just queening out with her.
Yeah, he's literally queening out and also treating her so well. No real man would ever do that.
Yes.
So, yeah. And also, Ken doesn't have a penis, so he basically is.
No, that's what I'm
basically
saying.
A lesbian.
Or he's trans. Either one.
True.
I support both of those headcanons. There's just no way that Ken in Barbie Life in the Dream House specifically is a cis white man.
No.
He's just not.
No.
When he was sitting on the couch and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing much today. Barbie hasn't texted me. And then like shows his phone and there's one number in it and it's Barbie's.
Yeah. Exactly, so.
That should be my next one. Barbie and Ken.
That's a bonus for you guys. That's a bonus. We didn't even talk about that.
My next one is Bucky and Steve Rogers from Avengers.
Yeah.
Taking out the end of Infinity War because that's just not canon. He would never leave Bucky in modern times and just be like, fuck you, I'm gonna go be with this girl. Also, that pisses me off because Peggy, the girl he goes back for, she gets a whole TV show that they filmed about her moving on with her life. And of course that love is always going to exist that she had for him, but it was kind of like, what does she do now? She's not just going to wait for him. He's dead, as far as she knows. You know, because he was dead to the world for 100 years.
Right.
And it's her becoming an ancient, founding S.H.I.E.L.D., and falling in love with someone else. And they uncanoned the show where she was the main character after they filmed him going back in time for her. And that's just, like, I understand that, like, maybe that was all, like, what he wanted. He wanted to be with her, blah, blah, blah. And that's why they decided to do that. But one, no, he was in love with Bucky, and they were gay as fuck the whole time. And also, two, so you're just gonna say, Steve Rogers would never say, actually fuck Peggy and her good life that she lived and built for herself. I'm just gonna erase all of that.
Yeah.
Because the rules of time travel in Infinity War were kind of like, if you go back in time and change something, as long as you keep it changed, the outcome will change. If you go back in time and change something, and then you come back to the present and go back and then unchange it, then it's fine.
Right.
Which doesn't work. But Marvel tried its best.
Yes.
But there's so many things about Steve and Bucky. I mean, Steve was the only one who could break Bucky out of the Winter Soldier thing just by looking at him and being like, Bucky, it's me. Like, boy, what do you mean? He has been brainwashed for over 100 years. Why would that work? But then it does.
Right.
And all of the Winter Soldier, the movie, is literally just them, like, having a situation. It's what happens when your 200-year-old situationship comes back to haunt you, basically. There's a really good fucking Taylor Swift edit, same album, a folklore song called Peace, and it literally I just saw the edit, and it was like, everyone was like, Stucky in 2025, what the fuck? And I literally saw it, and I was like, ripping my hair out, crying and screaming. I was like, what the fuck? And the line, I'm with you till the end of the line, that was like their saying. And he says it, they say, that's what Bucky says to Steve back in the first movie, right before he goes off to war. And then, 100 years later, Bucky's beating the shit out of him in his brainwashed state because Steve is his assassination target.
Right.
And Steve refusing to fight back and looks him dead in the eyes and says, I'm with you till the end of the line. And then Bucky stops beating him up. And it's like, I remember. They're soulmatism as well, but yeah, gay as fuck.
Yeah. Valid and so true. Okay, my next one, very big ship from Barbie. Mac and Dennis in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, Mac is canonly gay and pining after Dennis, but my reasoning here is that Dennis is in love back. He just is. He hates women, obviously, we know this. He's terrorizes them. He hates most people, but he doesn't hate Mac. He likes to flirt with Mac. He likes the attention he gets from Mac. Mac just is always pining after him and wanting to please him and be there for him. But then when Dennis pretends like, you get away from me, I'm not gay, but then when Dennis is without Mac, he's like, I need my Mac. I need my Mac. I don't, like, who's gonna peel my apple? So, that's canon to me. They're in a relationship. Again, check the edits if you don't believe me, because they'll prove my point.
Yeah, TikTok does a fucking worlds for gay edits of non-canon shit.
Yes.
That's actually the only reason I have TikTok, is because I got so obsessed with Wolfstar, which are on the list. Wolfstar and Jagulus, which is another ship from the Marauders universe. I got so obsessed with the fanfiction I was reading, I was like, I simply actually need to consume edits, and I cannot be off TikTok any longer. That was the only reason I came back to TikTok after it got banned. I could not live without my gay edits. Because Instagram gives it, like, 2 months late. So by that time, I was scrolling through Reels, and I was like, I have already seen all these edits 2 months ago on TikTok before it got banned. It was not doing it for me.
Fair.
The way you had phrased it, you were saying bigger than Barbie. I thought you were saying bigger within the Barbie universe, and then you were like, it's Always Sunny, and I was...
Oh, I thought I said different than Barbie.
Maybe you did. I heard bigger.
I might have.
And so I was like, you were like, and then you were saying the names, and I was like, I don't know this Barbie movie. But then you were like, it's Always Sunny, and I was like, oh, definitely not Barbie. Definitely not Barbie.
No, just very contrasting from Barbie.
That's what I was like, wait, what? I'll do Chuya and Dazai. They're two characters from Bungo Stray Dogs. Bungo Stray Dogs, I won't summarize because it doesn't really have anything to do with them. But I ship them because they are both in the Port Mafia, which is basically just mafia in a Japanese city. Mm-hmm. And the way this anime works is people are given, like, superpowers. So Dazai's superpower is called No Longer Human, where if he touches someone who has their superpower activated, it immediately nullifies it.
Okay.
Chuya's superpower isn't really a superpower. He wasn't naturally born with one. Or maybe he was, but it was amplified in a lab before anime starts, where he basically has the power of a demon within him.
Okay.
And I forget what it's called. It's been a while. This is the fan fiction I read when we went camping was about them, actually. Okay. Over 1 million words long. I wish I remember what it was called, because it describes its destructiveness really well in a succinct manner. But the whole idea is he can manipulate gravity, and he has the power to basically make anything as light or whatever, so he can lift like a boulder and throw it at you and stuff, or he can crush you with the weight of gravity. Mm-hmm. But also, he can turn over his soul or his consciousness to the demon, and the demon will just fucking destroy anything in its path. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that once he goes into the demon state, he cannot get out. The only way he's ever been able to get out is if Dazai touches him, because he's the only one who can nullify powers. And they were known in the Port Mafia before Dazai left. So, like, when the anime starts, Dazai has already left, and he's joined this good guy organization, and Chuya is, like, super high up in the Port Mafia. So they're ex-partners. They're exes the whole time, also. Ex-partners the whole time. So they're, like, hate each other or whatever, but even when they hate each other and they're at odds in these separate organizations, when there's situations that occur where Chuya is, like, he has no idea that him and Dazai are after the same enemy, and he will literally turn in the demon state just knowing in his heart that Dazai will show up eventually and save him. And he does! Every time he does! And then Dazai saves him at the end of this one movie, and he looks at Chuya, and they're, like, literally he's hovering above him, and he's, like, falling on top, and they're laying on top of each other. And he said, you activated, wish I remember what it was called, the name of the power. Knowing I would save you, and he said, I knew you would be annoying enough to be around, no matter what. And now everyone was like, oh, so you all are fucking! Yeah. And also, like, all the official art of them is, like, so gay. It'll be them, like, there's one, like, where Dazai's laying down and Chuya's, like, laying above, like, looking at, like, down at his face, and there's just, like, flowers all around. And it's like, okay, so then why would you draw that, though? Yeah. If they were just, like, ex-partners.
No.
And it's just the way that their powers, like, work in tandem to one another. Like, he is the only human being on Earth who has a power that cannot be turned off.
Right.
And Dazai's the only person who has the power to nullify anything, any type of power. Because, of course, like, Dazai's power is useful in any scenario with someone who's very overpowered. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea is, like, Chuya literally will die. Like, turn it off and succumb to it and die. So good.
Yeah, they sound like soulmates. And, I like the exes that still care about each other trope.
Oh, yeah. Chuya, like, kidnaps him in the first introduction you get to Chuya, because you, in the anime, are following the good guy characters. I forget what they're fucking called, too. I watched this anime when I watched, like, 300-plus hours of anime last year, so the details are kind of... Sure. It was great, but I watched it in such a fast time. Mm-hmm. He kidnaps Dazai with intention to kill him, and then he mostly just stands in front of Dazai and, like, bitches him out for, like, a little bit, and then, like, punches him, and then he's like, well, now I'm leaving. And Dazai's like, I thought you were gonna fucking kill me. And Chuya's like, I'm just saving it for later. And then, like, walks off, and everyone's like, oh, okay. So they're, right. So they're in love.
Yeah. Okay. Next one I have is Jade and Tori from Victorious.
That's the older sister? Oh, no, Tori's the main girl.
Yeah. Tori's the main girl. Jade is the alt girl.
Yep. In my head, growing up, I always thought they were sisters.
Sure.
I thought Jade was the older sister, like, the whole time.
Oh. What? And they just hated each other? Oh.
I didn't know. I didn't even know.
Tori has an older sister. Her name's Trina.
Right, so I, like, knew she had an older sister.
Oh,
and I knew that she had, like... Yeah, because the only thing I knew about Victorious was... The only characters I even really knew of was Jade and Tori. Okay. And I had no idea why there were songs that had come out of it. I just thought they randomly burst out in songs sometimes. Oh. Like, and when you had told me when we hung out with our friend the other time and we were, like, watching all the music videos that it was, like, a singing/performing high school, I was like, well, that makes a lot of fucking sense. I thought they were just singing for no good reason.
Well, the whole thing is Jade and Tori basically hate each other. They start off really bad because they're fighting over a man. Mediocre man. I mean, Peck is, like, he's okay. But, like, they're constantly competing and fighting each other, but then they also have each other's back. And, like, because Jade is just a mean lesbian. She's just a mean old lesbian. And then Tori, she's an annoying character. But, that's what it's giving. Like, she doesn't even really like her boyfriend, to be honest. She doesn't even like him. But she's just possessive over him, and, they just go back and forth, competing and fighting with each other, but then they also do the best numbers in the show are, you know, with the two of them singing together, so it's canon to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's hard for me to envision, but, you know, I also spent my whole life thinking they were... I thought, like, the reason, like, they hated each other is because, like, older bitchy sister.
Well, they do hate Trina, but Trina's just even more annoying than Tori.
Well, yeah, I was exposed to Trina that night as well, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense, because they look similar, etc., etc., etc. But I had no idea. All I did, growing up, people always just were like, you're so Jade, like, and I had no idea really what that meant.
They were calling you a mean lesbian, even back then.
This is so funny because actually my group chat called Nanami Nation are literally texting about this anime right now, but in Haikyuu is a volleyball anime where it's about boys in high school. Pretty much everyone is fucking gay in that. You can actually, there's so many fucking ships I could have listed, but I am going to do the main soulmate ones of it, and that's Hinata and Tobio. So basically, Hinata grew up in middle school wanting to play volleyball, but they didn't have a team, so he's like super underqualified when he gets to high school, but it's like his dream. And Tobio grows up, he's basically a volleyball prodigy. But everyone hates him in middle school because he's a setter, and he will set to where he thinks you should be. And it was never where the guy actually was, because he was always too quick. He was too good, basically. And everyone hated him because he wouldn't meet the team at their level. He would demand that they meet him at his. Okay. Which was something he has to overcome. He doesn't stay that way. Right. Get to high school, Hinata's so bad that he doesn't really have any, like, technical skills whatsoever, but he's really fast, and he's really short. And he, like, typically short guys can't be a spiker, but that's his dream. And he can jump really high. And they invent this, like, super quick, and a quick is, like, when you quickly set the spike. Okay. The idea is, the faster you go, the more likely it is they're not going to be able to return it. Right. And they invent, like, a super quick that only they can pull off, because Hinata is so unskilled that, at first, that he can't, like, aim when the ball, like, can't look at the ball and be like, oh, I'm going to hit it. And so they form this play where he closes his eyes and jumps and smacks, and he hits it, he sets it right into the palm of his hand every time. Okay. And they are so, all they do, and then they just become instant, like, partners in everything they do, even though it starts, like, them hating each other. Like, you're so annoying, like, all this stuff. And yet, every single day after practice, them two stay behind, and they practice with each other for hours and hours and hours. And, like, there was one match where Tobio was starting to fall into his old ways, setting where he thinks people should be, and he's starting to panic because it's kind of like a PTSD thing, because his whole team turned on him and kicked him off the team, essentially. Right. And he's like, oh shit, like, I'm becoming this evil tyrant that I was. And Hinata literally comes up to him and goes, wherever you put it, I will be there for you. Don't worry that no one's going to be there. And it's like, the whole thing is like, it's just volleyball, but the whole point of the volleyball anime is like, it's never just volleyball. It's always about something deeper. Right. And the whole show, they're also numbers 9 and 10. And they are basically partners in everything the whole show, and they create this team that's unbeatable that was basically trash when they first get to high school. Their freshman year, they almost win nationals because of how much the team reunites around this power couple, basically. And Tobio basically goes off to play professional volleyball at the end of the anime, or the manga, pretty much immediately because he's so good, and Hinata's not good enough right off the bat, and he has to go through this whole training arc, and he looks at him and says, you go do what you have to do, but I know that you're going to meet me back on the court. And then he does, and like the last few panels are them meeting each other, and it was like, me and you, like, will always drive each other to, like, fly higher and shit like that. Yeah. And I'm summarizing it poorly, but, like, every single person who has watched it, because I've had men Bradley showed me this anime, and he's not typically one, the way I'm the one to jump to gay ships, right? He is not like that. Sure. But he said, you're going to love it because the two main characters are just obviously in love with each other. And now JT, he's also in the group chat. He asked me and Bradley, oh, what anime should I watch next? And Haikyuu is just so good. It's so upsetting because fuck a sport. And when Bradley was like, no, watch a sport anime, I was like, fuck you. I don't give an actual single shit about volleyball. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to watch that. And then I watched it, and I was like, you are right. It is one of the best animes ever made. So now JT's going through that, and immediately he clocked them. He goes, oh, so these motherfuckers are gay as fuck. And he's also not one to, like, shit people. So, like, there's actually not a person who's seen the anime who's like, no, they're not in love. They're just friends.
Yeah. No, it's basically canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one, basically canon. Ryan and Chad, High School Musical.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I saw a tweet yesterday, or 2 days ago, it was like, Happy May 1st, my favorite queer moment in history, and it was like, Chad and Ryan switching clothes after the baseball
They literally switched clothes, like, what? Yeah, I don't even know, like, is there a need to expand on that? I guess if you didn't really watch High School Musical, maybe you wouldn't be aware. Or maybe you are not on gay TikTok, and so it's maybe not something you would have caught. But, yeah.
And also the actors...
Watch listen/watch the performance to Can't Dance. What is this called? I Don't Dance. And then in that lens, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
And the actors, like, improvised that. There were multiple other takes of, like, the ending scene, and then they were just like, let's just, like, switch clothes for, like, the shits and gigs, and then they kept that in the movie.
Maybe they
All I'm saying is Kenny Ortega knew what he was doing when he decided to keep that take in.
Yes.
He was pushing an agenda.
Thank you. As he should.
Also, Ryan was just gay.
Yeah, no. Even as young, I was clocked out when I was like, Kelsey deserves better. Mm-hmm. Like, not that there's wrong with...
Kelsey also a lesbian.
Right. But it's just, that's what it felt like. It felt like there was, like, even as a child, I was like, why are they putting a lesbian and a gay person together in a relationship? Like, no, this isn't right.
It was probably similar to a Wolfstar situation where it's like, oh no, people are gonna know that they're gay, so they have to date each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see.
That's what my last one is, Wolfstar.
Okay.
They're Harry Potter characters, Sirius Black and Remus Lupin. They grow up in the same friend group, and Sirius Black grows up in this, like, household that's super... Just comparatively, like, if you grew up somewhere super conservative and abusive in real life, this family of, like, dark wizards, and they expect him to be that way, and he's not, and that's an issue. So, but he grew up very closed-minded, and then he falls in love, of course, with a boy who's secretly a werewolf, which is a dark creature who is, like, shunned by all of wizarding society. They work so well, because it's, like, Remus, which is his name, Remus and Sirius, Remus represents everything that Sirius was taught to hate, and that he hates, in falling in love with Remus, he accepts what he hates about himself, because Sirius is constantly battling with the fact that he wants, even though he knows his parents are abusive, and he grew up in this horrible situation, he wants attention from everyone, but he specifically wants his parents to love him, up until he leaves, at 16 years old, and that him falling in love with Remus is almost like, and also being gay in general, is almost like a reconciliation of, like, I can accept the things about myself that they hate so much. Because, look, I love Remus, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And they were shipped so hard, because these characters were introduced in the third Harry Potter book.
Right.
They were shipped so hard that by the time the fifth book came out, J.K. Rowling killed Sirius Black for no good. She had no plans to. She killed him, his character, and then made Remus date a girl who was 10 years plus years younger than him. Who was, like, a child when he would have been, like, 16. Ew. Like a baby. Yes. And everyone was like, hey, what the fuck? Like, why did you do that? It's so weird. It's so weird. And then, even the actors, when they made the first original movies, literally say, like, oh, we just, like, assumed they were gay. Like, we just read the script and we played them as gay because that's what it reads, question mark? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I wish I could, I have so many thoughts that I can't, like, put it into words so... well, but they, like, grow up living in the same dorm together, and Sirius also, this is canon, because Remus turns into a werewolf, he gets locked in, like, a tree shack every month, because he's at Hogwarts, so they can't, like, chain him up in a basement. This is, like, the best they can do to contain him, because he can't run free or else he's gonna kill people, right? Sirius finds out that in their first year ever at Hogwarts, they're 11, he finds out that Remus is a werewolf, and he figures out a way, magic, to turn himself and the 2 other friends, there's the Marauders as a group of 4, into animagus, which is a magic that turns you into your animal persona, because he reads that werewolves need a pack of animals, and then they're docile. The reason, because Remus was going into shock and coming out, ripping himself open every night because the wolf was trapped, and so it was turning violent against itself.
Sure.
Which is, Remus's whole character is such a great metaphor for disability, and specifically AIDS, and things like that, and just self-harm, and so many other things. And because he knows that Remus is self-harming himself every fucking month, he learns the magic to turn themselves into animals, and convinces everybody that it's worth the risk, and so that Mooney, that's the wolves, what they call him, has friends every single moon. And he is the one who does that for him, without asking.
Yep.
Oh, they're soulmateism. They're one of the most popular ships, actually, of all time. Like, of all fanfiction ever written, one of the oldest and one of the most popular.
Who's Sirius's brother?
Regulus Black.
Okay,
and he's in love with James, who is Sirius's best friend. That's the one I'm currently on right now, but, like, Wolfstar is the one that anyone who's, like, pretty much seen Harry Potter accepts is true.
No, fair. Fair. Okay, and my last one is Becca and Chloe Pitch Perfect.
Yes!
And now again, Chloe is not explicitly lesbian, but like we all know the scenes. She definitely comes on to Becca multiple times, and Becca's like, no, like, whatever. She's into Jesse in the first movie, but then by the freaking 3rd movie, Jesse, they break up.
So stupid also. If you're gonna commit to, like, the...
And so, it's like, yeah, you should have went with Becca and Chloe the whole time, and that's canon to me. They just are so in love and caring for each other. Although Becca is in the closet. Because she just doesn't want to confront it, I fear.
That's also so her character coded.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, specifically, what song is it? Titanium in the bathroom when they were naked?
Yeah.
That did something for me.
Well, yes.
Way back in the day.
Well, them just, like, being naked in the shower together, I was like, that was enough for me.
I was like, wow, is this what college is?
Yeah, I was like, wow, looking forward to college.
Actually, in college one time, I had this guy friend. This all happened, like, the first month of college. So I had come from my guy friend group, because I was dating Nick and our friend group formed around us.
Right.
Me and the guys, I didn't realize that you can't be close to most cis men, straight men, in the way that I was close to them. Like, they would sleep over, they would sleep in my bed, we would cuddle, not, like, lay down cuddle, but, like, we would, we're hanging out, I'd leave my head on their shoulder, or fall asleep on them, shit like that, and it was so platonic. Well, Mike was in love with me. But it was platonic to me, and they would never cross that boundary. I guess that's what I mean. I guess that's what I mean. It was such boundaries were so obvious that it was just platonic. And Nick was chill with it. But when I got to college, I didn't adjust. So there's this guy named Zach, and I would, like, take naps in his bed when he was, like, away at class and stuff. And I had no interest in him. I was so in love with Nick. But, like, from an objective perspective, I was putting out crazy signals. My bad. But anyway, he came on to me in the craziest way. We were in his room, and we were about to go hang out with the rest of our freshman, like, floor friend group, and he was taking the BDSM test because I asked him to. Also, what the fuck is my problem? I don't know. And he was packing for his rowing meet, or whatever the fuck. And it was, like, asking about one of, like, the beast ones, where it's like, do you want to, like, growl at your partner and, like, chase them around? And then he got on all fours, crawled across the room, and then jumped on the bed where I was and growled in my face, and then he tried to kiss me. It was top 10 scariest things a man has ever done, and I pushed him off. So anyway, after that, we never spoke again. He hated me after that. He screamed in my face and was like, well, you led me on, you're a fucking bitch, you're tease, you didn't put out all this stuff. Which, like, he was a fucked up for the part of it, how far he took it, but I understand why he took the signals the way he did. Anyway, This relates to the Becca and Chloe thing, because a month later, I'm in the shower, 2 girls in the shower next to me, clearly having sex, and I'm just like, well, they came in when I was already in the shower, saw me already showering, and did not give a fuck, so I was like, there's nothing I can do now, I'm just gonna finish my shower, right, and get the fuck out, and mid having sex, they start talking, and, one of the girls was like, or like mid or after or something, and they were talking, and they were like, oh my god, so like you're dating Zach now, right? And she's like, oh yeah, like blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, but there's this bitch that he's clearly not over. He has like pictures upon pictures of her in his phone, and she like lives in the building, like, and I haven't seen her yet, but like when I do, it's on site. And I was like, and I was so scared. I was so scared for my life. I was like, because I didn't know it was me, but I thought it was. You know what I mean? And it turned out to be. She confronted me in a chemistry lecture like a week later.
And you said, well, I heard you having sex in the bathroom with another girl. So what?
But just imagine that I'm in the shower and there's just two girls talking about how I'm a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And like how he kept photos of me in his phone. Also crazy. I wasn't really taking that many photos with him or him of me that I knew of.
Yeah.
And the way she confronted me in chem, we were in the same chem lecture, I guess, because I had no idea what she looked like. She was in the fucking shower when I heard her for the first time. But then, she was also on the rowing team, is how they met. And she walks up to me as soon as the lecture ends, and she goes, "You're Elizabeth, aren't you?" And I was like, yes. I was immediately afraid. And she was like, well, you need to stay the fuck away from Zach. And I was like, I have not seen that man in like 5 months.
And you're like, girl, you can have him.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen him in
Y'all can growl at each other all you want.
I looked at her and I was like, I have not seen him in over 5 months. We're not even friends anymore. We were friends for a month. That barely counts as friends. And she was like, well, then why does he keep like photos upon photos of you in his phone? And I was like, not for any reason that makes me feel comfortable, but sure.
Right.
So, I guess they weren't that far off about it. I guess me thinking, wow, is this what college is like, wasn't exactly untrue. just not for me.
Yeah, just not my experience. That's okay.
Unfortunate. I was like so close to that being me. I was like one step removed. Like I just had to be in the shower next to them.
You got to overhear someone else having the experience, okay.
Right. Yeah, not only was I jealous because there was two girls having sex in the shower literally next to me, separated by a fucking curtain, but they were also then shit-talking me. I was like, damn, double crazy. Fucking homicide. Like, let me live. Let me live. Oh. It was like 2 a.m, too. It was crazy. I like went back to my room with Aaron and I was like, hey, so like something really weird just happened.
What else pride stuff related? We want to talk about?
I'm changing my pronouns. They're now she, they. I'm exploring with gender queerness a lot right now. I also just bought a binder. I just like I want to dress more masculine, but I just like hate the way it looks with boobs. My giant fucking quadruple D tits ruin fucking everything. And truly I have quadruple D tits. That's not an exaggeration. That is literally the size I wear, like 4Ds. So I don't know how much a binder's really going to do much, in my opinion. But I'm going to see, and I'm going to see how it makes me feel. Because it's confusing, because I don't look at my boobs and feel very dysphoric and wish I didn't have them at all. Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes I'm like, this outfit, I would feel better about myself in this outfit if I was flat-chested. I think I don't know where I'm going to land. It's kind of something I just started experimenting with. It's been on my mind for a while because I was struggling with my sexuality so hard. Mm-hmm. Because everyone tells me I'm a lesbian, and I was like, well, and hey, me liking girls has never been something I'm questioning. It's the man part of it. And I just feel weird when I'm saying this because I feel like when I say this, everyone's like, well, you're just going to think that way because all you do is consume, like, gay media, like men on men media, like that's why you're fetishizing them. But that's not how I feel. I think I like men in a gay way. Like I don't want to be a man's girlfriend. Like I want to be a secret third thing. Because I don't necessarily want to be a man either. But I want to be in a relationship dynamic where we're both gay men, ? But I don't know if I want to be a man. It's just in those specific scenarios because I think I'm going to end somewhere in a gender fluid area. Yeah. I know that, I know me saying it seems obvious, but there's a lot of things I feel like you have to get comfortable with about yourself and expressing out loud. So yeah, we're switching the pronouns for now, and I think I want to experiment with some more masculine stuff, and also just, that I want my, everyday or, my going out clothes / aesthetic to be able to oscillate between super masculine and femme and experiment with that for a while. But yeah, that's just what I've been thinking as of late. So I'm landing on bisexual for now. I'm pretty, I'm pretty sure. I know I like men, it's not in the straight way, which I know is not the whole point of bisexuality, is it's not in the straight way. Mm-hmm. Not in the girl liking guy way.
Sure.
Is where I've landed. So. And that also, I guess, solves my sexuality problem. I feel a lot more confident in deciding that I need to explore gender queerness and switching my pronouns and stuff right now. I've never felt more confident in my sexuality.
Good.
And also, you could say I'm pansexual or bisexual, in my opinion.
Yeah, I use those interchangeably.
Yes. Yeah, because in my opinion, I still think bisexuality doesn't necessarily follow a gender binary.
Yeah. Technically in name, but
I just like the colors on the bisexual flag better, so that's why I'm deciding that's where I'm landing. Even though my bedroom has a giant pansexual flag, but it's ugly. Those colors do not clash well, in my opinion.
And people see it and think it's what country flag?
I don't know. I think Ukrainian.
Yeah, or something
so
like that.
So many men will like one of my Hinge pics and be like, "Oh my god, Ukrainian flag." Maybe it wasn't Ukrainian. I think it is though. And I'm like, well, no. Yeah. But it has to be Ukrainian because I'm always like, well, shit, now I'm going to sound like I don't support their side of that conflict going, you know what I mean? Being like, no,
I know what you're saying, but flag. I think it's...
because they're commenting on it because they're trying to say, like, oh, you support, like, Ukraine.
Oh.
That's kind of the way they phrase it.
It's Ukraine is blue and yellow.
Right.
Just
it's
blue and
yellow and...
But they think it's because it's blue, yellow, and red. Because there's one that looks like it's just vertical versus horizontal.
Oh. Well, I've had one person at least say the Ukrainian flag.
Well, they weren't even knowing what they were talking about then, so...
True, but it might not have been the whole thing in it.
Armenia.
Yeah, people have definitely said that.
Yeah.
But, also I have pictures, though, where you can't really see the whole...
Yeah.
I've gotten both, but you're right, Armenia is the one that's...
Yeah.
Close. Yeah, gonna rebrand the color of the items I guess I have, but whatever, it's all the same.
Queer.
Yeah.
Queer is a good term, too.
The thing about... I went by queer for a while, but I guess... To me, if I couldn't choose a label, that is an option. But It doesn't feel like an option. You know what I mean? In the society that we live in, it doesn't feel valid enough. Mm. When I say I'm queer, a lot of people are just saying, like, well, then you're just a lesbian, you're not ready to accept that yet. I get that a lot. Everyone I know diagnoses me with lesbianism.
Well, that's separate than outside of that. I think that's separate outside.
I know, but it adds. Yes, but I was identifying as queerness, and everyone was telling me for the last year, like, but you're a lesbian. Not me me saying like, oh, I'm queer, and they're saying no, you're a lesbian. But I've identified it as queer for the past year, and this whole time people are telling me I'm a lesbian, and that in itself makes me feel invalid about going by queer or going by no labels at all. Objectively, I don't want to label it, I guess, sexuality, because to me it's very fluid and it's a spectrum and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But I don't know. Long story short, I like bisexual right now. Mm-hmm. In a very confident way that I didn't previously feel for the past year. Sorry, lady, it's hot in here.
Yeah.
And also the colors are prettier, so.
Yep. Valid and fair.
Time for unsolicited advice.
Yes. I'll go first. We had someone ask, how can someone participate in Pride if they are not part of the LGBT community? Which is a great question, so thank you to whoever asks that.
I think Pride events is open to anyone who supports LGBTQ plus rights and just...
I think, especially if you're a woman, which, hey, maybe gonna assume you are... Maybe I shouldn't do that. Especially if you're a woman, I'll say. Definitely the best way is just to be an ally and go in, like, Pride festivals and Pride parades. Like, those things are for the public. And they are a celebration of Pride. But they are also to kind of, like, share in queer joy and happiness in that way, and to the public. A lot of it is also about, like, education and visibility, and who needs that more than straight people. So
and I think I think the only place where it's a queer space and allies aren't necessarily welcome is not a good term, but for lack of a better word, welcome is, like, specifically, like, gay bars, lesbian bars are specifically, you know, I mean, I guess, to me, the gay 90s has become more than that, if that makes sense. Everyone goes to the 90s.
Right.
But specifically gay and queer bars, it's like, okay, they want it to be a specifically queer space because at normal bars you don't get that representation. Yeah. But pretty much anything else, like parades, festivals, especially during the month of June, to me, that queer space involves the allies. Like, that's the whole point. Exactly. I guess that's the summarize whatever you were saying, but I just want to be more definitive about
I agree, and I was going to get there, was that, yes, it is like, those spaces are involving, or want to involve allies, and want people to learn and participate and celebrate, but just be mindful of the space that you take up when you come to those spaces, and that this is a queer space for queer people, and this goes for anything, but you want to be respectful and give people, it's not a place for you to necessarily be sharing your thoughts and opinions. I mean, obviously you're showing support, and that's great, but, like, this is a space for you to celebrate in other people's pride. I think it's kind of like similar to how I feel about, like, Juneteenth, in that the parades and the celebrations that they have going on, a lot of them are open to the public and people to celebrate, but that is a space for Black people, sometimes it all encompanies people of color to share their thoughts, opinions, educate, celebrate, and white people are fortunate enough to join and celebrate with them, as being respectful and knowing their place and their privilege when they go and get to participate in those celebrations. And then, like, as you said, there are some events that are really only for queer or gay people. Oh, queer or gay, queer is gay. So just to be mindful of that. I'm not sure if you'd really be interested in those events anyways.
Right.
But
definitely during Pride Month, Pride events.
Yeah.
100%. And also, because I posted today the advice thing for gay advice, and if you are my friend and you did that question, you can also be a supportive ally during Pride Month by sending me money.
Yes, so true.
Send your favorite queer person $10.
Yeah, or just support the queer community financially in general. Go to a drag show or something.
Yeah, go to many drag shows.
Yeah.
Especially, I guess our Minneapolis viewers are not super many, but especially if you're in Minneapolis, I think our drag scene is fucking amazing, and that's saying a lot considering I came from New York. Right. And I love the drag here. I love the 90s drag every weekend. I think the drag brunches they do are fucking amazing. Like, I've been to many drag events at this point that I recognize, like, specific queens that I, like, am obsessed with. Like, Anya, she's my fave.
Yeah, I think just you wanting to show support in general is awesome and great. So, I feel like a lot of allies do feel worried about taking place in or participating in public pride activities. I say don't be afraid, just be respectful.
Yep. My advice is, am I a bad bisexual for only having boyfriends? I feel like they fall out of the air and into my lap.
Real.
That phrasing is cute.
There's a reason why it's kind of a trope. It's like kind of a thing. You're not alone in it.
I think that dating men is easy. Getting into a relationship with a man is comparatively easier because men are just easy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense? I don't think it makes you any less bisexual. I just think access to men in terms of getting into a relationship with them or even having sex with them, etc., 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 is just easier because men are taught from such a young age that they deserve women's bodies and relationships, etc. And also I think men seek out this is all generalizing, obviously, but I think men seek out romantic relationships so much more frequently than women because they don't get emotional support from their close friends.
Right.
To them, a relationship is where they get that access. And so I think that's why they really chase that as well.
Yeah, I think it's also just the heteronormative culture we live in that, well, and let's be honest, too, like, unless you my advice to you would be to immerse yourself in queer culture, and then the more that you participate in it and experience it, the more comfortable you may be with getting into a relationship with a female. Not to make assumptions on how comfortable you are with your gender or your sexuality, but you have been fed to you heteronormative culture all your life. It's kind of like, yeah, of course that's what you're gonna seek out, even if you are bisexual. Or not necessarily seek out, as you say, they kind of fall into your lap, but like, it's easier because men are easy, but it's also easier because society makes it easier.
Yeah. I also just think that even you can know you're bisexual and label yourself as bisexual your whole life and not date a single woman, and you're still as bisexual as someone who only dates women or who dates the same number of both.
Yeah.
That's just how fucking life goes. I think that in the queer community, bi people face a lot of backlash from within the community itself.
Yeah.
Like, I hate when the gold star lesbian thing, where you're a lesbian who's never dated a man, that's fucking bullshit. And also, I see a lot of TikToks of lesbians being, like, making jokes about being played by bisexual women, or, like... And I get that happens, because, of course, if you date someone who is bisexual, there is a chance that, hey, after you, they're gonna date the separate gender. That's almost like that's what their sexuality entails. I get that, how that can be hurtful to lesbians. I understand, but I also think that backlash towards bisexuality and that judgment is so unfounded and uncalled for. It's so ridiculous, and I think it, especially within lesbian and women bisexual community, and I'm sure, honestly, that hatred just drives from the fact that our society is built on the fact that women should hate each other, and hating women is just the trump of pretty much any any societal norm there is in the fucking world.
Yeah.
The number one rule, you gotta hate the women.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I kind of twisted your question and assumed that you wanted to date a woman next. Like, that was what you're going for.
I still think it's something valid to say, that heteronormative is easier.
Yeah. But you're not bad. A bad bisexual. There's no such thing, really, if if you are physically and or romantically attracted to women, then you can label yourself as bisexual if you please.
Yep.
And there's nothing bad or good about that. Like, there's no adjective there. There's no way to be good or way to be bad. But my advice was, if that was on, like, oh, maybe you don't want that to be the case, because that's valid too. That's kind of been my experience, where it's like mostly been men, and I'm like, but I don't want it to be like that. Then my advice more was to start immersing yourself in the culture more and surround yourself with more gay people, and just do it, because it's scary because of the heteronormative society we live in, but it's easier once you just try.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do our must recommends. I don't know if I have one, so you start.
Okay. My must recommend is the album Folklore by Taylor Swift, which is kind of funny because I was talking about it earlier.
Did you plan that ahead of time?
No.
Okay.
I knew that it was going to be folklore, but I was just bringing up the edits that came to mind.
I was going to... I know, that's what I was asking.
That was not the plan.
Funny.
I know that it kind of, like, is Taylor Swift's, like, it's known that it's Taylor Swift's best album, so I guess I can't say it's underrated, but yet it, like, let's bring it back. The energy that it had in 2020, I think we need to rediscover it, because I'm rediscovering so many songs, and I'm like, oh my god, like, God wrote this. I rediscovered The Lakes this past weekend, And the lyricism in the lyrics makes me literally want to choke myself and die. It's so good. Like, the chorus is, take me to lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. So beautiful. So beautiful. And then 7, which I brought up earlier, is kind of all about childhood abuse and stuff like that. And so relatable and so beautiful. And her whole storyline, she writes about these 3 characters and their songs all intertwined and everything like that. So good. Illicit affairs, talking about the experience when you date an older man. That chorus that bridge is crazy. The lyrics are, so you want to say, I want to say, don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Look at all these, I can't remember. You showed me colors I can't see with anyone else. Don't call me kid, you showed me secret language I can't speak with anybody else. And you know damn well I would ruin myself a million little times for you. Basically, it summarizes the grooming experience in such a beautiful way that it's like horrifying to listen to.
Yeah.
And My Tears Ricochet is actually, I can't even listen to that song without getting emotional. It's so, everything about that. It's about it's about kind of moving on from a somewhat abusive relationship, and it's so bad that you can't even go back, like, home to where that... Home could mean a lot of things in terms of the relationship, home, like, the person, but home, like, your physical, like, your hometown type shit. It's so good. You had to kill me, but it killed you just the same. So insane. The lyricism is the best lyricism I think I've ever discovered on any album, ever. Peace, her song Peace, every time I revisit it, I literally... Like, there's a specific phrase, and every time I hear it, I'm like, no, but no one is understanding. The lyrics are, everyone thinks love's for show, but I would die for you in secret. The devil's in the details, but you've got a friend in me. And I'm like, no, but no one else is understanding it like me right now. Like, they think love's for show, but I would die for you in secret. Every time I hear it, I literally go on Twitter and I tweet that lyrics in all caps, and I'm like, but you guys are understanding it. Yes, you've heard the song, it's been out since like 2020, but you guys are not getting it. We need to all collectively, I've decided right now, we all need to go revisit it, because I don't think y'all are getting it like I'm getting it. That's how I feel about pretty much all the lyricism in folklore. And, like, I know saying this is super redundant, because that's pretty much how every Taylor Swift fan feels about the album. Mm-hmm. But I'm also like, no, but, like, let's revisit it, though.
Right.
So this time it wasn't a song, it was a whole album. So
no, that's
maybe
fair.
One day it won't be music-related.
It can be anything. I won't do a music-related. Go watch Brokeback Mountain in theaters. That's what I'll say. Especially if you've never seen it. Bring tissues. I actually didn't cry the first time I see it, but I think maybe in theaters with, like, it's a beautiful movie in general, with not just being a gay story, like, just the imagery and the music in general. But I think in theaters, when it's, like, big and loud, I might have a different reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you should, too. So watch it. Support gay movies.
And also, he's in 10 Things I Hate About You, and also... Heath Ledger, the actor, passed away. He's in it as well, and he was such a fucking good actor. He was generational.
Yeah.
But he's one of the main gays.
Right.
Jake Gyllenhaal's the other, who I like less, but... Hey, he puts on a great performance.
He does. He's better as a gay man. If you just assume, like, he lives his life as a gay man, then it's like, okay, it's fine, and you don't have to think about the horrors that he committed as a straight man.
Yeah. I had canon Jake Gyllenhaal as gay.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Do you know...
Specifically a gay bottom. Oops, spoiler.
Yeah.
But he's a bottom.
Gay bottom, no lube, fucking no prep, no shit. Well, maybe they were prepping, I guess, I don't know, but maybe no lube.
Maybe on the trips in the future they got, like, in my head canon, they're, like, on their trips they get more and more experienced, and, like, they start pulling out crazy shit. It's just the first one that's, like, really terrible.
I don't know how they made that all work, but sure. Hey, fucking sure, it's fiction. You know what I was just thinking, now that we were talking about non-canon characters? Well, they're not characters, they're real-life people, but they're not canon, but they are. Matt Damon and,
Ben Affleck. Yes, man.
They are in love. They are in love.
Another example of men who would just... Well, actually, Matt Damon's not too bad. That would just be better off in life if they came out as gay. Like, live your true life, and I know you wouldn't be committing the same horrors that you do now.
Yeah. But they're totally
Sorry.
gay for each other. They are... Every time I see some shit about them, I'm like, right. And that could mean nothing. I'm sure it means nothing.
Yeah, we could go into a whole other thing about real life people that I think are gay relationships, but I don't think that's really... out of respect for them, probably wouldn't do that.
True. It just came to mind when I was thinking.
No, because who gives a fuck about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? They're A-list celebrities. Like, we'll say whatever we want about them, but I just think about, like, the other people I have in mind that are not necessarily as big that fair. I'm like, I wouldn't just want to assume they're...
Fair. Hey, happy Pride to Vanilla Mace.
Yes, thank you.
I want her so bad.
Yeah.
I want her life so bad, but I also want her so bad.
Yeah, baddie. We've been loving Vanilla Mace. I know we're not the, like, first ones on the train, or hopefully not the last ones.
Right, I'm definitely joining the hype, but...
Yeah, she's pretty awesome and funny.
Great. Very entertaining. I think some of...
Would you watch us play games, guys? I'm curious. I feel like our friends would really like watching us play Until Dawn. Like,
True.
They would be... I think...
I
assume that because, like, we would assume... We would like watching our friends do that.
Right.
But I'm like... I think of, like, my sisters that are like, I don't give a fuck.
Me and Morgan 3 months ago, we will never make a YouTube or any other type of social media or anything. We will just do the pod, us today.
I didn't say that.
We literally specifically said we would not become YouTubers or influencers.
Well, influencers, yes, but...
YouTubers are influencers!
Well, I would never want to get to the status of actually, like, really popular. I never said that, though.
We had a whole conversation about how you would never want to be YouTube famous or anything like that.
Well, yes, I don't want to be famous.
In that way.
No, I don't want to be famous.
Yeah, but I think it's saying we should make a YouTube where we play video games opens yourself up to the idea that you're okay with being famous.
No, I'm okay with making videos for my friends that they watch.
Okay, sure.
It's different for me. Just, you know how many people post on YouTube and don't get famous? Us, we've already been doing it for 5
I know. I'm open to it. I want to do that. I literally was telling you earlier how bad I want that to be my life.
I thought we had left it out that we would do it maybe someday.
Oh, I was just bringing up after that we should just play Until Dawn again because I want to.
I know that.
No, we could totally make...
I know that, but I just was thinking about... I wouldn't want to play you Until Dawn for a video because it can be boring. I'm just like, you have to do this.
Yeah, but I think it would be entertaining because, one, I get scared easily, and both,
we're
also
both
one of the
just
not, like, really good at video games.
Well, that's true.
So, like, it would be entertaining because we would know what to do, but us pulling it off would be a completely different story.
Yes, that's true, but that's why I think a game like one of the other ones where it's that, plus we don't know the story.
What I like about what Vanilla Mace does is she also is just playing random fucking games, like a lot of indie games, like the one, Little Miss Unfortunate or whatever. That game was great. I had never even heard of it. And the one she's playing now is some like Yandere type simulator with this like e-girl that you get into her video game and she's like crazy and hunting you because she's like so in love with you or whatever. And it's like I've never heard of it, but it's entertaining that she's doing it. I'm sure these games are somewhat popular within the gaming community. I know that, but it's like interesting because I think there's a plethora of games that we could play that are not just, oh my god, we could play Fortnite. Morgan won't play Fortnite. But that would be fun! No, we should definitely explore that. I'm down.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I'm down.
Off the table, I just would want it to make sense for us and, like, it'd be something we actually want to do and, like, things that maybe, like, our friends would want to see or I don't know, would be entertaining.
Isabel would want to see it. She plays video games all the time. We could get her in.
We would have one viewer for sure.
We could get her to do it with us. We could get her in on it. Like, she would 100%.
Like, build, like, a Sinjin Drowning, like, friend base.
Yeah.
Where, like, we're collaborating with our random friends.
Me and Isabel went to the Ren Fair in Iowa. I should talk about this next pod, actually, how crazy Iowa is. Last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, and she literally talked about how she had such a violent addiction to Among Us and played it for, like, ever.
Real, because, that's how I met 2 of my friends. That's how I met Ashlyn, was through Among Us, kind of. It, like, we lived close to each other, but, like, the introduction was through Among Us.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so, leave a comment if we should be posting or streaming video games in some capacity. I think we just had a business meeting within the pod.
Do you guys like that? Do you want to hear us talk shop more? I don't know.
Okay, well, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow the pod and rate us 5 stars and also leave a comment, I guess. I don't know if we've shouted out comments for specific things throughout this, but comment, please. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe and comment. On Instagram, we are weknowbetterpod, as well as TikTok, but it's weknowbetterpod with 2 Ds. We don't have any other social media, right? No.
Mm-mm.
It's More Cooper 2020 on both Insta and TikTok for Morgan, and it's Elizabeth Rose Penabrown on Instagram for me, and Edgy Liz on TikTok. I said Edgy Liz 8 last time, and that wasn't right. It's Edgy Liz, but you would have found me anyway. If you interact with anything of the We Know Better Insta or whatever, because we are pretty small right now, and not even our friends are interacting with the socials anymore, you can easily find us because we interact with everything.
Yeah, true. Also, in link in bio for advice form, in case you haven't ever seen it before.
The link will be in the bio, and it's also in all of our social medias for the most part.
Yeah, should be linked in the bio of the Instagram as well, but, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be it for us, I guess. Maybe this will be Pride episode 1. We'll see how gay we're feeling next time.
Yeah. Happy Pride!
Bye!
Bye!